So it's a documentary called Scotty and the Secret History of Hollywood with the subtitle The Secret Lives of Classic Hollywood Stars. And it's by a guy, and I'm saying this slowly because I forget his last name. So it's about a guy named Scotty Bowers. And he was this grew up in the Midwest farm boy type thing. I think his family moved to a city at some point. Yeah, right. Went off to World War II. When he came back from World War II, he went to LA where he worked at a gas station and very quickly started engaging in sex work with really famous celebrities, but not only himself. People kind of realized that oh, he's good at fixing people up. And so he would connect men and women who were not just in Hollywood. There were also politicians and whatever, but mainly Hollywood. And this book is really focused on Hollywood. Well, there's a book as well, which I'll get to that in a minute. But he was hooking up these really famous people who couldn't be out because, in the they explained that I think it came about in the 1930s that they started having morality clauses in contracts for directors and film actors and actresses. And so anybody who was queer couldn't be out anymore in a way that they previously had been able to. It was, they showed this side of Hollywood that had been actually quite hedonistic prior to that point, which I never knew and found really interesting and surprising. And he referred to the acts themselves as tricks, but then he referred to some of the sex workers as tricks. And so it's a little hard to it's how do I use the language he was using in a way that's going to make sense? I don't know that I actually can. So yeah, he would connect, really famous actors and actresses. Typically, for the most part, he was talking about with same-sex sex workers so that they could actually continue to experience the kind of sexual encounters that they wanted to in a way that was safe, that they couldn't do publicly and out in the open. And I thought I was kind of two minds about it, because on the one hand, I appreciate that he was able to give them that sort of freedom and safety and ability to have the types of sexual encounters that they needed and wanted to have, even if they couldn't have open relationships. But I also wonder, is it okay that he's outing all of these people? Because he was talking very, very frankly about Charles Lawton and Cary Grant and Cary Grant's boyfriend, whose name I can't remember, Spencer Tracy, Katherine Hepburn. Katherine Hepburn was the one. I had heard about, the reason I heard about this film was I heard it referenced in relation to her being a lesbian, which I only learned about a few years ago. And for me, she was my favorite actress from when I was 14. I saw the Philadelphia Story and I was just fucking sunk. I had to see as much of her stuff as I possibly could. And of course, now as an adult who understands my queerness, I'm is there a part of me that saw something?
Probably, for sure.
And connect. But what do you think about the idea of is it okay for him to do a tell-all like this?
I think that is a tough question, because I think the temperature of just queerness in Hollywood and queerness in life now obviously is a lot better, to where you can. I don't. Maybe yes, I am okay with it. I feel like when you're in Hollywood, you're in the spotlight. That's what you want in life. You want to be famous, you want to whatever, and you kind of give up privacy. That's just a thing that happens. You don't want to, but it does happen. And I think that maybe once you're gone from this world, I don't care if the world, knows that I'm gay, but, it's not going to hurt anybody, or is it? Is it going to hurt somebody? Is it hurting people?
I don't know. And he actually responds to, so I said there was a book, and I haven't read the book yet. I've just started listening to it. My library has a copy of it, and he's at a book signing though. And somebody comes up and basically says, how dare you share this? And it's not somebody who is connected to any of them. It's just a concerned member of the public. And so Scotty says, well, I wanted to do it so that people could understand that, you know, Hollywood was actually a lot more queer than people realize. And I'm paraphrasing here,
Right.
but he basically said so that people don't feel alone, because this book was also published in 2012. And I also get that like 2012 is very different from 2021 when I'm watching it now, although I still feel generally kind of strongly that you don't out people. I mean, there's one person I would love to out.
Out.
And
Okay.
it's somebody in politics, and I'm not going to say who it is.
You'll have to tell me later because you know I can't.
I don't want to get a letter. Ooh. Is a thing, right? Like I do not want to get. I will tell you later. But
yeah,
so he was telling the guy this, right? And the guy said, "Well, what about their families? What if they don't want them to know that they were gay?" And he just shot back immediately. Well, what's wrong with being gay?
Right. That's what I'm saying. Why I don't.
My microphone was like, "Fuck yes," and it decided to drop at that moment.
You did drop the mic.
I did. Oh, literal mic drop. I didn't even touch it. The mic dropped itself. What's wrong with being gay? Boom. Oh, let's catch it and put it back up. We're recording a podcast.